Am I audible, guys, please? Is it my audio is clear to all of you, please? So I'm requesting all of you. So if you have any questions and doubts, please text me in the middle of our session. At the end of the session, definitely I'll take your questions in by voice. You can able to talk to me. Clear, all of you. So if you have any question, please text me in the chat box. End of the session, we can able to talk. Okay. Thank you. So by the way, my name is Lakshmi Rao. My name is Lakshmi Rao. I have totally 10 years of experience in IT. From the last 4 years onwards, I'm working as a DevOps engineer as well as AWS. That is my profile. That is my profile. So today our agenda is, one second. Our agenda is what is DevOps. We're going to be discussing what is DevOps. And then, so we're going to be discussing what is cloud. And what will we do? Then, and what is a Docker? What is a Docker? And then how to deploy a Java application, one of the example of Java application on Docker container. So this is our agenda for today's session, guys. Clear enough? So the prerequisites are basic Linux, basic Linux. Basic Linux. That's it. That's it. Clear enough? So I'll repeat one more time. All of you, please. Kushal. So what is the DevOps? We're going to be understood today. And what is the cloud? We're going to be understood. Then we're going to be discussing about what is the Docker. So in the Docker, after understanding what are the Docker, how can able to deploy Java application on Docker container? That is exactly today our agenda. These are all things we're going to be discussing for today. Around for this, it will take around maybe 2 hours. Around maybe for the completion of this workshop, around maybe 2 hours, guys. Please bear with me 2 hours. Clear? Please bear with me. Okay. Fine. Let's start with the DevOps, guys. Let's start with DevOps. So before starting the DevOps, I have a 4 questions. I have a 4 questions. Let us be discuss these 4 questions. Then we'll start DevOps. What are the first question, please? What is an application? And what is the server? And what are the time to market? And the fourth one is, what is SDLs? What is SDLs? Clear, guys, please. So let us discuss about what is application. Do you have any idea about what is an application, please? Anybody, please? Anybody, please? Anybody, please? What is an application, guys, please? What is an application? What is an application? Application is nothing but our website. Application is nothing but a website, like a book my show, like a book my show, like a Facebook, like a Facebook. What is an application? Application is nothing but our website. This is what I say. This one. I'll repeat one more time. What is an application? The working software which is written any programming language we call as an application. That application we're going to be deploying onto the server side. After deploying our application on a server side, we can able to access over internet as a website from your browser. It is nothing but an application. I'll repeat one more time for your clarification. What is an application? What is a server? What is an application? The working software which is written any programming language, either like Java, .NET, Python. The working software we're going to be deploying onto the server side. After deploying successfully our application server side, we can able to access our internet as a website from our browsers. Is nothing but application, is nothing but a server. Then the next, what is time to market, please? What is time to market? Anybody help me? What is time to market? For example, if you have any product, the product should be delivered or a sale within a shortest time with the high quality with low cost. Clear enough? Is nothing but a time to market. But as a DevOps engineer, as a software engineer, what exactly we're going to be do? We're going to be delivering the working software, which I'm going to be delivering working software. The working software within a shortest time we have to deliver. Within a shortest time we have to deliver. Within a shortest time we have to deliver with the highest cost with the lowest price. Is nothing but a time to market. Clear, guys? And the fourth one is, what is SDLC? The fourth one is, what is an SDLC, guys? What is SDLC? How many people knows what is SDLC, please? Can you reply in the chat box, please? How many people knows what is SDLC? Yeah. So what is SDLC? Software Development Lifecycle. Software Development Lifecycle. In SDLC, we have several phases: analysis, design, implementation, testing, deploy, and maintenance. For example, I'm a businessman, like a travel agents. Do you require a website or not? Definitely. But how can able to get overnight can able to build on our software? No. It will take months and years. So what are the first stage? Please tell me. If you want a website, what are the first stage? Analysis, gathering information from my client. So what kind of business this? We have to gather the information from the client. Then based on that, we have to design. Based on the design or a plan, so our Java developer is going to be implementing the software. So after implementing the software, our testers is going to be verifying whether the software is working condition or else we have any errors. The testing output gives you the working software as an application. That application we're going to be deploying onto the servers. We're going to be deploying onto the servers. After deploying, whether my application is working or is performance slow or down, so we're going to be monitor on the operation. We'll be calling as a maintenance. So these are all the stages we have to pass through in SDLC. What are the aim of SDLC? SDLC involving planning, design, building, testing, and deployment. Clearer? So by helping of SDLC, we can able to alter the software, maintain the software, and we can able to replace the software also. Clear, guys, please. Clear, guys, please. On SDLC, we're gonna be implement DevOps process. On SDLC, on software development lifecycle, we're gonna be implement our DevOps process. Our DevOps process, guys. So what is the DevOps, please? DEV in the sense of what? Development. OPS in the sense of what? Operation. So the combination of software development plus operation we call as a DevOps. I'll repeat one more time, guys, please listen. So software development, DEV in the sense of what? Development, OPS in the sense of what? Operation. The combination of both DEV and OPS we call as a DevOps. As a DevOps engineer, our roles and responsibilities starts from coding, build, test, release, deploy, operation, and monitoring of our applications. Clear, guys, please. Our roles and responsibilities starts from dev environment, ends with operation. But not, we are not developers, we are not testers. But we are part of development, we are part of testing. Clear, guys, please. As a DevOps engineer, we're gonna be implement one transparent process on SDLC. So while we implementing DevOps process, we have to mitigate two rules. First one is time to market and add business value. What are the time to market? You know very well about this. Time to market in the sense of what? We have to deliver the working software within the shortest time with the high quality with low cost is nothing but a time to market. Add business value is nothing but while we delivering working software from dev environment to operation, we have to reduce the cost of software. Is nothing but a DevOps guys. But what are the agenda of DevOps? What are the aim for DevOps? So we should be deliver working software within a shortest time, with the high quality, with the lowest cost. That is the major agenda of DevOps. Clear guys, please? I'll repeat. DevOps is the process which we gonna be implement process on SDLC. While we implementing DevOps process, our roles and responsibilities start from dev environment, ends with the operation. We are not developers, we are not testers. Simply, we're gonna be implementing DevOps process for to deliver shortest time and high quality with low cost and with low and add a business value and a time to market. These are all the features we're gonna be getting by using DevOps. I hope you understood the very clear. So, but by using DevOps, what exactly we're going to be able to fulfill, and moreover, what industries wants in SDLC while we software delivering while we delivering working software, what exactly industries wants, and what are the DevOps aims. So we're going to be discussing one by one. So fast and frequently deliver. Clear? Industry wants our working software we have to deliver frequently, and we have to improve frequency deployment of our software, and if you have to improve the quality and the lowest cost while delivering our working software with a low failure rate. It is exactly industry wants. These are all the features we can able to fulfill by using DevOps. Clear? By using DevOps, we can able to frequently deliver our working software, and we can able to improve and easily improve our frequency of deployment, and we can able to increase the quality, and the same time we can able to decrease the cost, and we can able to reduce the failure rate also. This is what exactly DevOps aims. That's what DevOps. But by helping out DevOps, what are all the problems we can able to resolve? What are all the problems we can able to resolve by helping of DevOps? Let us discuss about one by one. What are the first one, please? Leave after deployment. This one. And over production waste and knowledge waste and so many wastages and so many wastages, guys, please. Wastages. Let me discuss about first one. Leave after deployment. For example, I'm a developer. For example, I'm a developer. As a developer, I'm going to be writing a use case. One of the use case like a registration page, login page, or a search page, or a payment gateway, whatever may be. The use case, the software is working in my dev environment, in my laptop. And after moving into testing environment also is fine. There is no problem. Clear, guys? After moving into the production also it's working fine. After moving into the production also it's working fine. So my use case has been successfully running in my production environment from the last 3 months onwards. There is no issue, guys, please. But today is not working my use case in production environment. Who is the first responsible person? Tell me. So who is the first responsible person to diagnose the error, diagnose the problem? Developer or operation team? Can you answer this? Do you want me to repeat the question one more time? I'll repeat one more time. As a DevOps and as a developer, I'm going to be deliver one working task or a software to the production environment. My use case is working from the last 3 months onward, but today is not working. Who is the first responsible person to diagnose the problem? Either operation or dev environment, developer or operation. Operation.
Operation.
Operation team has to diagnose the error. It has to navigate back to the developer. Again, developer has to fix the issue and send back to the operation team. What I am trying to tell you here, so operation team and as well as dev team has to communicate each other, resolve issue as soon as possible. But so before DevOps, before DevOps, it was a situation like this. It was a situation. The developer feels operation team is separate from us. Operation team feels a DevOps team, developers are separate from us. They feel an individual. They feel as an individual teams, individual person. But is for rather for communicating each other, developer to operation to dev team, they are wasting the time. So for example, we consider as a this between developers and operation team, it has a huge gap between these two people. So if they want to communicate each other, for example only, so they have to communicate this wall. Let us consider this a wall. Clear guys, please. They're wasting time for communicating each other. The huge gap between the gap is we consider as a wall. But after the West, what? After the West, what will happen? After the West, this wall has been removed. This wall has been removed. The web says you are not separate. You are both of them should working together rather than wasting for communication. You have to concentrate on the work as soon as possible, resolve issues. It was exactly DevOps, please. What DevOps, please? By helping of DevOps, we can able to eliminate or remove the gaps between the teams rather than wasting time for communicating each team. They have to concentrate on issue or a problem resolution as soon as possible. It means the speed up our SDLC or not, software development lifecycle is going to be speed up or not. Definitely clear. Definitely it would exactly develop this, please. Then let us fall back of the second problem. So war production wasting is, please. War production wasting. So I think all of you are using smartphones or not, please. All of you are using smartphones or not? Definitely you are going to be using smartphone. Really are using all the functionalities? 100% functionality are going to be using? Really, please? In your smartphone, are you using all the functionalities? All your
No.
features in your? No. The answer is no. At least we're going to be waste at least 10% of wastage. At least 10% of wastage commonly. So what I'm trying to tell you, if we can able to identify the 10% as wastage before releasing the product, the developer didn't write the code for that or not. I'll repeat one more time. So if we can able to identify the 10% of wastage before releasing a product, the developer didn't write code for that. That means developer time equal to company money or not. So what I'm trying to tell you, by using DevOps, we can able to identify the wastages before releasing the product. We can eliminate the wastage. So what I am trying to tell you, by using DevOps, we can able to eliminate the gap between teams and we can able to eliminate the wastages. Clear or not? These are all the problems we can able to resolve the issues, resolve the problems in software development lifecycle. So many wastages we have, but as of now, these two are an example of DevOps. By using DevOps, what are the problems we can able to see? One is leave after deployment and overproduction waste we discuss, and so many wastages we have, but it is more than enough for today. Then let us go for one more example. How exactly before DevOps we are going to be delivering working software. So for example, while we delivering working software, so if we got any error, any problem, to fix the issues, experts are required. Experts means definitely it's going to be increasing the cost of our SDLs. Experts, for experts, we have to pay more salaries. Even if we have an expert to identify the problem, it will take long time. And moreover, resolving the problem also it will take long time. Our exactly our experts are struggling in this diagram. You can able to observe here. Somebody hanging, somebody jumping, somebody is wetting. This wet because of before DevOps, the STL software development lifecycle look like this only. For example, clear again, please. As a DevOps engineer, we're going to be replaced with complex pipeline with transparent pipeline. For example, for your understanding, don't be considered as a layman exam. So if you are transferring, if you are water flow in that pipe, everything is visualized or not? Everything is transparent or not? This kind of transparent pipeline we're going to be built by helping of DevOps. So if anything problem, any error occur in this pipe, in this transparent pipeline, everything is visualized or not? To identifying the problem, experts are required? No, not required experts. That means it is going to reduce the cost of a development, software development lifecycle. And even within no time, we can able to identify. So within a less time, we can able to resolve the issues also. That is a major feature in DevOps. So what is a major agenda of our role is as a DevOps engineer, we're gonna be replaced with transparent pipeline. That's it. I'll repeat one more time. As a DevOps engineer, our roles and responsibilities with an existing of complex pipeline are replaced with transparent pipeline. That is an agenda of DevOps roles and responsibilities. Clear. So what exactly a transparent pipeline look like this? What exactly our transparent pipeline look like this? Yeah, it is exactly our transparent pipeline. It is the top view of our DevOps diagram, please. Clear or not? What exactly we're gonna be do? We're gonna be replaced with complex pipeline with transparent pipeline. This is an exactly our DevOps transparent pipeline. In this pipeline, in this transparent pipeline, our roles and responsibilities as a DevOps engineer from dev environment and ends with an operation. That means we're part of development, we are part of integration, we are part of testing, we are part of release, we are part of deployment, we are part of operation. But we are not developers, we are not testers. And moreover, we are not part of planning. We are not part of planning guys, please. We never ever part of planning. So the first stage planning is part of BS, business analyst. The business analyst is responsible to planning. We are not part of planning. And the coding in dev environment. In dev environment, developers are writing a code in Java by using Java or .NET or Python. The developers are writing a code. The lines of code we call as a source code or a software. Clear guys, please. In dev environment, in dev environment, in dev environment, the lines of code which is written in any Java programming language or .NET, we call as a source code. As a DevOps engineer, that source code we're going to be securing into the repositories in a version 1. That is exactly our roles and responsibilities. I'll repeat, guys, please listen very carefully. The writing of software or a code, the responsible by the developer. Developer has to write a code. After writing a code, that code we call as a source code. That source code is going to be securing by the DevOps engineer. Clear, guys, please. So as a DevOps engineer, we're going to be take out the source code from the developer and we're going to be process it, integration, testing, release, deploy, and operation. Clear, guys, please. So I'll repeat one more time. As a DevOps engineer, we're going to be securing the software, but we're not writing the code. That's it. But how many developers are there? N number of developers. N number of developers, guys, please. In a project, N number of developers are there. All developer software, we should be integrate or not. But how many times in a day? Continuously. Developer writing a code continuously morning to evening. That means we have to integrate continuously all developer source code or not? Yes, obviously yes. Obviously yes. So in the sense of what? So we're gonna be integrating. We're gonna be integrating all developers source code continuously by using CSS. And moreover, we're gonna be executing our test cases like a Selenium test cases or maybe any other test cases automatically. If you got any error, any bug, so it automatically revert back to the developers. Revert back to our developer. Again, developer has to fix the issue. Again, integration. Again, testing. This loop will be repeated. This loop will be repeated until zero errors, zero bugs. The output of the testing team gives you so the working software as an application. So we already discussed what is an application. It is the first question of this session. The first question of this, what is an application? The working software as an application, we're gonna be halt in release. We're gonna be halt in release, guys. Please. Clear? So the release nothing but the working software is ready to deploy on a production environment. But directly we can't deploy on production. It's ready to deploy. So when a particular schedule tag and a particular maintenance window and monthly once or 2 months once. So by helping of all teams together like a developer team, testing team, application team, a DB team, and all team together, we're gonna be deploying the working software and production environment. Deploying on where? A physical servers, on a virtual servers or a cloud server. Clear guys, please. The working software we're gonna be deploying on production servers. The servers may be physical servers, virtual servers, or cloud servers. After deploying, we can able to access our application as like this, and this application is working or not properly. Whether it is working or not, we have to monitor and maintenance. We call as an operation. Guys, please, I hope you understood all of you. As a DevOps engineer, roles and responsibilities start from dev environment, ends with an operation. Clear or not? We are part of coding, we are part of integration, we are part of testing, we are part of release, we are part of deploy, we are part of release. We are not part of plan. That's what exactly. But how can able to implement this DevOps process? For that, we're going to be learning some tool stack. But let us understand what are the tool stack we're going to be learning. We're going to be learning in DevOps, guys. Let us overlook it. So we're going to be learning Git. We're going to be learning Git. By helping of Git, so we can able to maintain entire source code in a version wide and a branch wide. By helping of Git, Git is a version control. So we can able to handle the entire source code in a branch wide, in a version wide. Then the source code we have to compile. We have to compile and build. For that we're gonna be using Maven guys, please. And Jenkins. Jenkins is an automation tool and we call it a CSS. By helping of this, we can able to automate, and we can able to development, build, test, and deploy. So by helping of Jenkins, we can able to integrate continuously all developer software. It's part of development, it's part of building, it's part of testing, it's part of deployment also. By helping of this Jenkins server, we can able to automate the entire the CI/CD process from coding to integration testing, integration to release. Entire CI/CD process, and it's part of deployment also. That's what. And we're going to be learning JFrog. The JFrog is nothing but a, so we're going to be halt the working software in the release or no. The halt is nothing but release. This release we can able to achieve by using JFrog. JFrog is an Artifactory. It is nothing but a release. And SonarQube. SonarQube is nothing but a code analyzer. Whether the developers are following standards or not. Whether the developers are following standards or not. Whether the developers are using right functions or not. We're gonna be using SonarQube. And moreover, we're gonna be learning Ansible. Ansible is a configuration management software. So with the help of Ansible, we can able to replace with a manual configuration process with replaced with an automation process. A manual configuration process replaced with an automation process. That would exactly answer. For example, we have 1,000 servers. On 1,000 servers, we want to change a file or install a software at a time. On all the 1,000 servers at a time, we want to install software. How it is possible? Manual will take so much time, but how can able to automate by helping of Ansible? By helping of Ansible, we can able to install software, uninstallation of software, creating files, deletion files, and changing configuration files. So many things. This is nothing but orchestration, provisioning, change management, so many things. These are all things we can able to HU by using an Ansible SPA. So, but the 1,000 servers we can able to get from where? AWS Cloud. 1,000 servers or 100 servers. What infrastructure required implementing a DevOps process? What are the requirements? What are the infrastructure required? That entire infrastructure we can able to get from AWS. That's what we're going to be learning AWS also. AWS also guys. So through from AWS, we're going to be getting a servers. On top of the servers, we're going to be deploying our application, Java application, by helping of Ansible. That's what. But what is a deployment? What is a Docker, please? What is a Docker? Clear or no? So Docker is a company name. The Docker is a company name. By helping of Docker, we can able to get a container. By the way, what is the container? The container is an isolated area. Which is specifically designed for deploying our applications only. Clear, yes, please. I hope you understood very clearly. The Docker container is specifically designed for only application only. But what is an isolated area? Isolated area is nothing but a separate. Isolation is nothing but a separation. For example, so which I'm sitting this room separate with these 4 walls. My room is separate with this 4 walls, ceiling and bottom. This room is specifically designed for conducting a DevOps classes only. This room is isolated, and moreover, this my room is specifically designed for conducting only DevOps classes. Same way, the Docker container is an isolated area, is nothing but a separate area for deploying our applications only, not for any other purpose. But these containers we can able to manage by Kubernetes. Managing by Kubernetes, like a scale up and scale down, clustering, HA, orchestration, desired state. These are all the features we can able to HA by using Kubernetes on Docker containers. On Docker containers, guys, please. And moreover, we can able to get discussing about Vagrant. We're gonna be discussing about Vagrant. Clear or not? And Nagios. Vagrant is a provisioning tool. We can able to create a virtual machines in your laptops, in your dev environment. By helping of Nagios, by helping of ELK, we can able to monitor. Nagios is a system monitoring. ELK is an application monitoring. The Nagios is nothing but we can able to monitor RAM, CPU, motherboard, whether the server is down or not. We're gonna be monitor. But by helping of ELK, we're gonna be monitor the application logs. Each and every application generating a logs. Those logs we're gonna be monitor. Guys, please. So by helping of these are all the tools, we can able to implement this transparent pipeline. Clear? Clear, guys, please. Any question in this, please? Can you text me? Yes, please. What is a DevOps? Okay. You clarified this? Any questions up to here? I'm waiting for a question.
Yeah, hello. I have one question. What is Kubernetes?
Kubernetes is we can able to managing a container, Docker containers. So for example, Docker container scale up and scale down, increasing a container, decreasing a containers. How it is possible? Not automatically, not possible. Manually, it is not possible. So we can automatically increasing, automatically decreasing, or parts.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Automatically. Manually, manually it is possible. Multiple containers we can't able to create it. But by helping of Kubernetes, yes. Scalability, increasing container, decreasing container, scalability.
Sir, one
Automatic.
question here, Rajendra here.
Yes,
It's similar to the Docker Swarm, that one of the for the orchestra.
Kubernetes, Docker, Kubernetes similar to Docker Swarm.
Okay.
Kubernetes, Docker, Kubernetes similar to the Docker Swarm. That Docker Swarm is a native of Docker. The
Okay.
Docker Swarm is by the Docker, but Kubernetes is built by the Google product. That is the difference. But Docker itself supporting Kubernetes. Fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
We'll move further to what is the cloud. Right now, we're going to be discussing about what is the cloud, guys, please. What is the cloud? So, for example, to deploy our application, what infrastructure we can able to get, please? Servers. For deploying our application, we require a servers and a network, and we require a storage, and we require a database. These four infrastructure. What is infrastructure? What infrastructure? To maintain our application, we require a infrastructure. That infrastructure is servers, network, storage, and database. Clear or not? So, for example, to maintain your home, you require infrastructure or not? So maybe sofa, refrigerator, washing machine, stove. Clear or not? The same way, to maintain our application, we require infrastructure or not? Definitely. Without infrastructure, how can you able to deploy our application? So those infrastructure is servers, network, storage, database. But this infrastructure, how many ways we can able to get? Physically, we can able to get a physically, and we can able to get a virtually, and we can able to get a cloud. That's it. We can able to get a cloud. But what is the cloud is? What is the cloud? That is what exactly. That is what exactly my question. What is the cloud? What is the cloud? What is the cloud? So please listen very carefully, all of you. What is the cloud? So if we can able to access remote placed resources or infrastructure over internet from your browser is nothing but a cloud. I'll repeat one more time. If we can able to access a remote placed resources or infrastructure over internet from your browser or a client is nothing but a cloud. For example, the remote resources located in different places like US or Mumbai or somewhere else, remote location or infrastructure is located in different locations like US, Singapore, Malaysia, in a data center. If we can able to access that computing core or the resources, that infrastructure over internet from your laptop is nothing but a cloud. Is nothing but a cloud, guys. I hope you understood what is the cloud. Clear? Clear, guys, please. Is any question? What is the cloud? Yes. But so tell me, answer this. Which one easy? Build and use, select and use. Which one easy, please? Anybody help me? Which one easy, please? For your life, which one easy? Build and then select. Which one is please? For example, building a house or buying a house. Which one is for your case? I'll give one more example. So buying a car, a rental car. Which one easy, please? Buying a car, a rental car. Which one easy for you, please? Immediately you want a car. Immediately within a fraction of 5 seconds, 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. You are standing in the road, you need a car. Within a 5 minutes, which is easy? Quickly you want a car. Buying a car or rental car? Obviously, we can say rental car. Rental car. But what I'm trying to tell you here, what I am trying to tell here is, so any cloud, either AWS, Azure, Google, any cloud is a rental based services only, not their own services. Any cloud provider, they're gonna be providing only rental services only, rental services, either servers or a network or a storage or databases. So for example, let us discuss about this. So for example, you want to buy a car. So with a 15 lakhs rupees, that's it. Don't require RC, driving license, pollution check, insurance, not required. And more than, you have to drive yourself your own way. And you have to maintain your own parking area. So many headaches. But rental car, do you require RC? Do you require driving license? Do you require insurance? Do you require pollution check before getting into the car? And moreover, car parking is required for you. You maintaining anything, you want to be service center before travel? Nothing, guys. Getting into the car, reach destination, how much tariff you're going to be pay around maybe 300 rupees. For 10 kilometers, you says you're going to be 300 rupees. But maintaining an own car, very difficult. The same way are servers also. So buying a server is very difficult. We have to maintain data center own. If you want to maintain your infrastructure with your own way physically, very difficult. Buying a server is very easy, but maintenance is very horrible, because of we have to pay, we have to keep in a servers in a data center. Who will pay the rent? Who will pay the monthly rent for data center? Who will pay the current bill, AC bill? Who will pay the employee salaries? Clear or not? Very difficult to handle the physical environment our own. That is the reason industries wants to move cloud, because of it is a rental service. How much they want, they can able to use from the cloud, either AWS, Azure, or Google. Then end of the month they're gonna be paid the bill. That's it. How exactly your rental Walla cab or Ubera? Clear? The purpose is resolved or not? That is the only thing. The industries wants the servers, wants the database, quickly they want to use. After usage, then left away. That's it. That would exactly industry want. Then let us talk about AWS. Let us talk about AWS. Let us talk about AWS. Amazon Web Services. It's providing a cloud technology, and moreover, so they're going to be providing a infrastructure providing for deploying our application. So what are the resources? What are the services the AWS is providing? These many and so many, but my screen is not exist. But overview, the few of services we're going to be discussing. For your understanding, these are all the major services. What are the services, please? Here, VPC, EC2, RDS, S3. That means servers is nothing but a EC2, guys, please. Network is nothing but a VPC. Storage is nothing but a S3. Database is nothing but a RDS. This word. Remember this. So let us talk about one more time. It is a high level diagram of AWS. It is a high level of R diagram. It is a high level of R diagram. So in this, we have 4 categories: network, servers, database, S3. Clear or not? Let us talk about one by one. What are the VPs? Virtual private cloud. Sorry. Virtual private cloud. That means how exactly your office network, similar kind of network, we can able to get our internet in a virtual way. So in your office, anybody can access outside people? No. How exactly your office network, similar kind of network, we can able to get a virtually over internet. Is nothing but a VPs. So why we require? If you want to communicate via system, require a network. Even so, to connect your online session, we require a Wi-Fi connectivity. Without my network, how can you able to conduct this session? The same way, if you gonna be install any server, we require a first network. Then only we can able to keep your servers. You are in your office also, your laptop or a system also, the same concept. But what I'm trying to tell you, What I'm trying to tell you. So we're going to be creating a one virtual network in AWS. One virtual network in AWS. After creating a network, we're going to be creating a servers. Elastic Compute Cloud. That is nothing but a EC2. EC2 is nothing but a server. How exactly your laptop? The same thing. Like your laptop has CPU, operating system, hard disk, RAM, CPU, firewall. These are all things in server also. But exactly laptop has the same components in server also. But a laptop using for home purpose, server using for deploying our applications. Yeah, let us discuss about in a broader. So by using VPC, we can able to get a network. On top of the network, we're gonna be creating a server by helping of EC2. By helping of EC2. On this EC2 server, we're gonna be deploying our application. On that EC2 server, we're gonna be deploying our application. Like an Hotstar or a Netflix or a Prime Video. Is it my application or not, guys? Please. What is an application? The working software which is written any programming language, we call as an application. So if anything we're gonna be accessing our internet is nothing but a. If anything gonna be accessing our internet, that is nothing but application. That is nothing but an application, guys. Please. Hotstar.com is an application. For deploying this, first we have created a network. On top of we're gonna be creating a EC2 server. On top of EC2 server, we're gonna be deploying my Hotstar application. Hotstar application. Then what about my customer information, like a login information, the registration information, mobile number, email address, postal address, subscription information, but where we can able to store in databases. The database we can able to HU by using RDS. Clear? So by helping of VPC, we can able to create a network, private network. On top of we're gonna be creating a server by helping of EC2. On top of we're gonna be deploying our application called Hotstar, like example. But where we can able to maintain our customer data, please, in databases by helping of RDS. But thing here is why we are using Hotstar. Why we are using Hotstar, guys, please. Why we are using Hotstar? For browsing your videos or not? Maybe Hollywood movies. If you go for English, Hollywood movies or not? So for example, in a Disney movie, around maybe it is, if it is a Blu-ray print, around maybe what are the size of the file, please? Anybody help me? Minimum size of the file, please. Minimum size of the file, please. What are the minimum size of the file, please? Maybe around maybe 3 GB. Can we able to store this kind of files in my database? In my database, guys, please. Can we able to store this kind of files in database? So the huge files can be able to store in the database. Anybody help me?
No.
No. The answer is no. That's what we're gonna be using storage. S3. S3 is storage, guys. S3 is a storage. So an external storage. S3 is an external storage. We can able to store anything. The huge kind of files we can able to store into this. What I'm trying to tell you, for deploying our application, what infrastructure required? We required a network, we required a server, we have required a database, we required a storage. These are all the things infrastructure we can able to get from AWS cloud. AWS cloud, guys. For implementing our DevOps process for deploying our application at this place. Guys, please. I hope you understood very clearly what I'm discussing about this. Up to here, do you have any questions, guys, please? Do you have any questions?
Actually in RDS we can store just normal information, right?
Can you repeat one more time?
In RDS we can store only general information of users.
Like a tabular format and
Yeah,
relational database, like relational structural data, like a
yeah,
tabular format, like employee details, student details, like that. Blob,
yeah,
blob data also we can able to store. We can able to store entire file also, but huge kind of files we can't. Clearer,
yeah, yeah.
clearer, clearer. That's what. So we clarified up to here. What is a DevOps? What is a cloud? But what about Docker? So today in workshop, so we're gonna be discussing what is a Docker, guys. Please, we're gonna be experienced today, and moreover, we're gonna be deploying our application on Docker container. Listen very carefully. Listen very carefully, guys. So Docker is an isolated area which is specifically deploying our application. Am I right or not? Which I discussed already. Which I discussed already. Have you visited any shipyard, guys? Please. Have you visited any shipyard? Anybody help me? In shipyard, so in a ship, we are transporting a number of products by containerization or not, please. Clear or not? Clear or not? So I'm going to be asking you one question in that. In layman way, let us answer to me. So without a containerization, without boxes, we have a product like a prawns, fish, crabs. But how can able to transport without mixing, guys, please? I'll repeat one more time. Without mixing or seafood, I want to transport. How can I please? Without containerization, without boxing. Can anybody help me? Please, quickly. Can you type? Think, man, think. Whether it is wrong, that is okay for us. No, no idea. If you not understand the question, please ask me one more time. I'll repeat.
Sorry, can you repeat one time what is Docker?
Yeah. So what is a Docker? What is a Docker? I'll repeat one more time. Docker is a company name. It gives you container technology. But what is the Docker container, please? It is an isolated area which is specifically deploying our applications only. Clear? Then one more question I asked. In a shipyard, we have a containers. In ship, we have a number of containers. But my question in this, so we have a seafood called fish, prawns, crabs. Without mixing, without containerization, without boxing, how can able to transport? Don't worry, lorry, cabs, not. I'm talking about ships only. Vasudeep, I'm talking about ships only. For example, like I'll explain clearly. Please listen very carefully, guys. I'll explain, please. Let me explain to this. So we have a three food, guys. Three seafood: fish, prawns, crabs. Listen very carefully, guys. So how can able to fish? It is the first shipment. It is my first ship. So in a first ship, we can able to transport fishes. Where is my thing? One second. Yeah, please. So fishes, guys, please. In this ship, we can able to fishes. The same way, in a second ship, so we're gonna be transport. We're gonna be transport crabs this way, or maybe prawns. Prawns. On a third container, on a third ship, crabs. Lemon crabs. This way. Thing here is, in this diagram, I have one question. How many times we invested, please? How many times we invested to transport these three products, please? Help. How many times we invested to transport these three foods? 3 times, and guys, please. 3 times, guys. 3 times. 3 times. Good, very good. But if you are containerization, these three foods, so do you require 3 ships? Not required. On a same ship, on a same ship, on a one second, on a same ship. So if you are using containerization, we're going to be containerization. Just assume you are a shipyard. You know, so many. I think everybody knows what are the shipyard, what are the ships we have in the ship, how many containers we have. In the first container, fishes, guys, please. In a second container, prawns. Curious. On a third container, crabs. Curious. But how many times we invested right now, please? How many times we invested? Is it an advantage or not, please? So
Yes.
one time invest, 3 products we can able to transport via sea. Am I right? Clear? Clear, guys. But so let us talk about technical. So we have a 3 products like a Java application, a .NET application, and Python application. Python application. 3 times. So if you don't want to follow container technology, if you don't want to follow container technology, guys, so how many servers we require? How many cloud servers we require, please? It is my AWS EC2 server. 1. Clear? So in this server, we're going to be deploying a Java application. In this server, we're going to be deploying our application. On a second server, we're going to be deploying a .NET application. On a third server, separately, without containerization, Python application on a third server. So how many times have we invested, guys, please? 3 times. But if you are going to be using container technology, what are the advantages? One time investment on a same EC2 server. We can able to create a 3 containers. One time investment, three containers. 1 container for Java application, second container for .NET application, third container for Python application. Good. I think I hope you understood why. So we're gonna be using container technology, Java application, a .NET application, and Python application. Guys, please, I hope you understood this very clearly. This clear. But so instead of spending 3 times, we're going to be spending only 1 time, but we're going to be delivering 3 applications, 3 types of technologies. But these 3 technologies are on the same server. On a same server, guys, please. I hope you understood this point. But and moreover, our application performance will be increased. The cost will be decreased. And moreover, the performance will be increased. Why? Because this entire container specifically designed for application only. The entire this space is going to be using for application, not for any other purpose. That's what this application, this container performance will be increased. So we thought maybe performance will be slowed down, but it's not like that. Performance will be increased because of this separated, the isolated area. This isolated area is specifically designed for application only. It's not for any other purpose. Clear, guys, please? Clear, guys, please? That is
Yes.
only one advantage. So reduce the cost for deploying maintenance, and moreover, performance will be increased. Who don't want this, please? This technology, who don't want this? Which company don't want this technology, guys, please? That's what the industry, in this entire industry, wants to move Docker technology and container technology. Yes, please. I hope you understood this. And moreover, let us discuss about one more point. What is the major difference between virtualization and Docker container? Let us talk about what is the major difference between virtualization and as well as container technology. So for example, it is a physical server. This RAM call 8 GB, guys. It is RAM call, please. 8 GB. 8 GB, guys. 8 GB. 8 GB of RAM. Here also 8 GB, guys, please. 8 GB. So both places we have an 8 GB, guys, please. Clear or not? So an 8 GB of physical RAM. In 8 GB of physical RAM. So we're gonna be creating 4 virtual machines. That means this 4 GB dividing into the 4. That means each VM have 2 GB. On a 2 GB and 2 GB, 1 GB is going to be occupying by the operating system. But finally, only 1 GB is going to be deploying under the application. Each and every VM we have a 4 OSs or not? 4 OS or not? It's in the sense of what? So the 4 GB is going to be wasting or not? Out of 8 GB, the 4 GB is going to be wasting for occupying by OS or not? Obviously. Only we're going to be deploying our application for application on a remaining 4. But if you're moving into the container technology, the container doesn't require an OS. There is not required any OS. Clear or not? It is not required any OS. So we're gonna be creating 8 containers here. On top of it, we're gonna be deploying 8 applications. And the same 8 GB we can deploy 4 applications here. Here we can deploy 8 applications. 4 GB here deployed, 4 application has been deployed. One more for application we can deploy on this page. Clear or not? What is the major difference between VM required operating system? The Docker container not required operating system to deploy application. Clear, guys, please? So our operating system point of view, our base machine operating system point of view, it's a file. It's a file. It's a file. It's a folder. But application point of view, it is in a server. It's a server. It's look like that only. It act like that. That is a great feature of Docker. Clear, guys? Any question in this, please? Shall we do the practical of this? Shall we implement this, guys, please? Yes. Shall we do this practically? That means we required a cloud server or not? First, what we required, please? What we required? AWS EC2 server. We have to create. What are the first step, please? What are the first step, please? Let me write down here. One second. So what are the first step, please? So get a EC2 server from AWS. That is the first step. Second step, install Docker. Install Docker, then create a Docker container. That's it. Create a Docker container, guys, please. Docker container. Let us experience up to right now. Let us experience right now. Then after completion of these 3 steps, let us fourth step is deploy Java application on Docker container. That is exactly we're going to be experiencing right now. Shall we do, guys, please? So for this, do these activities. Your requirements are AWS account. You have to sign up and sign in, and you have to install Git on your Windows laptop, on your laptop. These are the prerequisites to this activity. AWS account is required. Git on your Windows, your laptop. Yeah, I already have an account. AWS account I have, and we have I install Git on my Windows environment. After installing successfully Git on, we can able to visualize this Git bash. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Let me getting into my AWS. After sign up, and you can able to sign in. So these are all my existing servers. These are all my existing servers. It is my Docker server. It is my Kubernetes server. These two are my Kubernetes server. It is running class. It is my running class. Let me quickly launch one AWS instance. Quickly launch an AWS instance. Please wait. Please bear with me. One more 15 minutes. Let it be finished. Please bear with me. Please. Maybe you know more than 1 hour. Maybe you exhausted, but it is necessary for us. But let me launch. I'm going to be choosing an operating system. So Ubuntu 16, Ubuntu 16, Ubuntu 16, guys, please. Ubuntu 16 and T2 micro, and I'm going to be launching this in default network, and I'm going to be choosing 10 GB hard disk. What I chosen? Please tell me. What I chosen? Ubuntu, 1 core CPU, 1 GB RAM, default network, default data center, 10 GB hard disk. From where exactly? This location where exactly? In Oregon. This infrastructure located in US, not in my laptop. Not in my laptop. Remote location resources we can able to access our internet from your laptop is nothing but a cloud. Am I doing that one, please? Am I doing that, please? My Docker host machine. Docker host, that's it. Configure the securities. Who can access, who cannot access, we're going to be writing the rules and regulations here. So all the traffic, let me give. In the sense of what the firewall, in your laptop, we have a firewall, you know, the same concept here also. But by helping of SSH, we can able to log in from one laptop to another laptop. Sorry, one Linux server to another Linux server. But RDP remote desktop is nothing but a Windows to Windows. SSH is nothing but a shell to Linux to Linux. Review, launch. So usually any server, any Windows operating system, any Linux operating system, usually we're going to be logging with the username and password. But in AWS is providing a keys, guys. With the help of the keys, we can able to getting in the service. That's what cloud AWS did. So we successfully created a server in AWS. Yeah. Let it be launched. Let it be launched. Yeah. Let me getting into the server. Let me getting into the server. Yes, to continue. Sudo -i apt get update. We have to first update the server. So which I'm executing, these commands are executing in my cloud server, not in my laptop. These commands are executing in my AWS cloud server, not in my laptop. Not in my laptop. Then I want to install a Docker. How can I please? In a Google, type, please write down in your notebook. So get docker.com, please. Get docker.com. So open this file. You can able to find a .sh file, shell script. Copy this, paste it. then automatically we can able to download one shell script. By executing the shell script, automatically we can able to, by executing the shell script, we can able to install Docker. That's it. That's it, guys, please. That's it.
Are you installing a Docker on server, right?
Docker on AWS server. I'm installing Docker. Docker engine. I'm installing Docker engine. This server hereafter we calling it Docker host machine. Hereafter we calling as a Docker host. On the Docker host, we're gonna be installing. We're gonna be getting guest. Guest is nothing but a container. The terminology is very important. Whether my Docker has installed or not. Sorry, guys. That is wrong. Please, 1 second. Docker. Yeah, it is my Docker version we successfully installed. Is there any containers are there? Is there any containers are there? Nothing. We don't have any containers. We don't have any containers. Empty. The server is an empty, guys. Please. The server is an empty. On my Docker host machine. On my Docker host machine. It is we calling as hereafter a Docker host. On this host, we're going to be creating a containers. On this host, we're going to be containers, guys, please. But as of now, is there any containers? Nothing. We don't have any containers, guys. But shall we create a containers, guys? Please tell me. Shall we create a container? For example, I want to create a web server container. For example, so Docker run is a command. -- name my nginx. My, or else I don't want to confuse you, please. Docker run -d is nothing but detached mode -p. So 8081:80. Your image name is nginx. Nginx. This image is available in where exactly? Hub.docker. Hub.docker. This image is available in hub.docker. Nginx. Here is. Clear, guys, please. So from there itself, from the hub.docker.com, it will be downloaded. It will be downloaded this image. Downloaded this image. On top of this image, my container will be created. That's it. So whether my container has created or not? Yes, obvious. It is my container. But how can I able to access this container over internet? What are the port forward we given, please? 808081. So let us copy public IP of our instance, pasting into the browser, :8081. That's it. As simple as it is my web nginx web server container. But do you want me to create one more container like this? One more container. But how can I please? Here I'm going to be creating. Let me verify. A Docker ps. It is my container. A Docker images. It is my nginx image. On this image, my container has been created. Here, guys. But the same way, let me create a Tomcat container, guys. Please. How can I please? Docker run -d -p 8082 and 8080 Tomcat. Tomcat. That's it. The Tomcat image will be downloaded on top of the Tomcat image. On top of the Tomcat image. On top of the Tomcat image. We're going to be deploying a Java application. This one. Here guys, please. So the Tomcat image has been downloaded on top of Tomcat container has been created. Whether my Tomcat container has been created or not, how can I verify? 808 public IP 808 808. But it is not. One second. Huh? But how can I able to clear all my images, all my containers, please? First, we have to clear my containers. Docker rm dollar docker ps hyphen a hyphen q hyphen q and hyphen. And how can I able to remove all my images? Docker rm docker images hyphen q. Sorry, one second. Please wait. Yes, please. Everything clear. There is no Docker containers. There is no images.
One question here, means each software is a container, we can say.
Come again. Can you repeat one more time, please?
We have installed Tomcat, we have installed Nginx. So each
So
application or
not required to install anything. Everything is ready-made. Everything is a pack. So, for example, you want to eat a chicken biryani. For example, for your understanding, either you can able to prepare than eat. First scenario. Second scenario is you have to order from the restaurant. You can eat. It is Docker is the second option. Not to prepare anything. Order, eat. It's nothing but no need to install anything. Directly can able to get a image. If you open the image, everything is ready. Clear, guys?
no, that I understood, but if I'm considering about the container, okay, just want to understand the concept of container. So container is nothing but one of the software we are installing, like Tomcat, right? So we are installing a Tomcat, so that is a container.
Yeah.
So Nginx is one of the software, so that is another container.
Yeah,
right?
another container. Right, you're right.
Okay, so let's say my doc hoster, that's my Docker, right? You have created one AWS Linux server, right, on AWS. So there you have installed Docker, and on that Docker you are now installing multiple software, like Tomcat.
Multiple Docker containers.
Sorry, multiple Docker container. So let's say my requirement is like that. I want to make dev or testing environment on the same server. Like say on the Docker only, let's say one Linux machine. So one Tomcat I have installed. Okay. So as per the standard, two Tomcat can I install for the two application server, like another container or
two Docker containers.
Yeah, two Docker container can I install as a Tomcat?
Yeah, that is possible. Multiple Docker containers, multiple Docker Tomcat containers. Possible.
Oh, but the image name is the same. Okay, image name would be different then. Dev and another is
from the same image, we are able to create a multiple Docker container. That may be Nginx, that may be Tomcat, anything. From the same image, we can able to duplicate. We can able to duplicate, or we can able to create a multiple containers. That may be Nginx, that may be Tomcat.
Okay, got it, sir. Thank you.
Let me create. Please wait. I can able to clarify these all things.
Okay.
Run -p. So 8081 colon 8080. So Tomcat. So one second. My tag name is 8.5.37-JRE. It is my one of my image. One second. Let me create one. One second. Somebody muted, please. Can you mute one more time, please? Somebody's talking, please. Can you mute? Yeah. That's right. See, somebody is asking the question. Then let me clarify him. Let it be take time. It will take one more 10 minutes. Doesn't matter. Yeah, fine. Let us refresh one. Yeah, it is my 8081 is my Tomcat container 1. How many containers we have, please? How many images, please? Listen. Look at here. How many images we have? 1. How many images we have? How many images? 1 image. But how many containers, please? How many containers, please? How many containers, please, guys, please? One container.
I think. Yes, one container is the Tomcat.
One image, one container. But let me execute the same command one more. Same image. Let us change only the port number. But how many images we have, please? 1 image. But how many containers we have? How many containers? 2 containers.
2 containers.
Let us change here number 2. Number 1 is for container 1 Tomcat. Number 2 for what? Container 2 of container Tomcat.
Yes, sir.
Clear. But so thing here is these are all existing images. These are all thing is an existing images. These are all thing is an existing images. An existing in images. But what I want I want to deploy my fourth question here. Up to here we successfully listen very careful, all of you, please. So we got a server, we install a Docker, we create a Docker container successfully, done. But how to deploy Java application? How to deploy Java application? So for that we have to follow first one Java source code. So URSC source code and install Java and install first install Maven and build Java project is nothing but a .var file. Listen very careful, very important, guys, please. Very important. Clearer. Then write Docker file and build image is nothing but a my Tomcat image. My Tomcat. Clear, guys? As of now, we are using existing images. But what I need to do, you have to build our own images. But these are all the follow steps. 10th step is create a container with my own image. This one. Clear? It is exactly we're gonna be doing. Clear? These are all the steps we're gonna be doing. Shall we? Can you help me this, please? Can you bear with me 5 minutes, guys? Please. Can you bear with me just 5 minutes?
Right.
Let me finish.
Sure.
because if the time is running out almost in one and a half hour. But please bear. I want to show you. But what is the first step? Install. So before this start, before start, I want to show you. But Java, where exactly we have, please? Docker execc. One second. Docker ps. Let me copy this container ID. But let me getting into this container. Docker execc -it container name bin bash. So let me verify Java version. This is there. Java version is inside a container. I'm in the container, guys, please. But let me exit with the container to host. I'm in the host. Let me verify, is there any Java here? Nothing. No one. What I'm trying to tell you, listen, this point, I forget to tell you that one. So the Java is available, please. Java available inside a container, but not on host machine. Inside a container, but not on host. You clarify this. That means the containerization or not. This environment is only for working for Java or not. This environment only for Java or not. But other content doesn't have that Java. Please, that's it. Got this? I think you catch up my point. Yeah, let us jumping into this mark. So we don't have any Java on my host machine. So we don't have any Java. Please let us install Java on Ubuntu 16, my Docker host machine. Quickly. Guys, please, because of the time concern, I'm running out. That's what I want to make it this fast. Please concentrate. Please concentrate. Look at this points on each and every. So first, copy this. Just I'm going to be installing Java JDK just to content. Listen very carefully. Please be concentrated. Because of I'm going to be speed up. Please get this. Then so we successfully installed Java on my Docker host machine. Yeah, fine. But let me install Maven. Just to continue. But we require a Java source code. Am I right, please? We require a Java source code, which you discussed already. The writing of Java source code is responsible developer, not by us. Mana sambandham leda. We are not writing a code. We are part of dev environment. We are part of dev environment, but we are not writing any source code. But the source code is already maintaining in a version in Git. We already maintaining in a Git and Git. So which are all written by the developer is automatically maintained by Git report like this. Let me clone my Java repository. Let me clone in my Java repository, please. Let me clone my Java repository. Yeah, getting into my Java browser. So is there any target folder? Nothing. Where exactly pom.xml? Let me execute maven targets, maven commands. But this job in we are doing in dev environment, but we don't have any time. That's all these things we're doing in the same server. But actually this work in For dev environment testing to testing, that what different servers. But times concern, I'm doing these are all the activity in the same server. So we got a target folder now. In target folder, so we have got a dot var. This is it is our application, Java application. Clear? So we got a var file or not? With this var file, we're going to be writing a Docker file. With this var file, I'm going to be writing a Docker file, guys, please. So let me create a one directory, mkdir, make dir my Docker something folder. Let me getting into my Docker file. At this location, I'm going to be writing a Docker file. In this, I'm going to be writing a like this from Tomcat image. We have to use the base image called which image name, please, which I used 8.5.37 hyphen please GRE 8. It is my base image. With this image, I'm going to be getting one more image. Maintainer. Please bear with me. Maintainer is something called LAKS. Aragon at the rate of Gmail and run. I'll explain each and everything in live classes in separate session. Let me update and run. So let me use my existing image called. One second, please bear with me. Please use my an existing image. This is my existing image. Let it be open. Please bear with me. These are all my Docker files, an existing Docker file. Let me take an example of this. Anyone? Well, similarly, we're going to be writing a Docker file. Similarly, we're going to be writing a data. Similar, I'm going to be writing a Docker file. So I'm going to be deploying at this location. So add web apps under this. But what is the source, please? What is my source file? Where is my source file? So the source file is located in where exactly, please? Root Java app or target Java app var at the present version. This is var file or not, please? Let us rename this. So Java app. So the same name, please mention in this Docker file, as a source. This file will be copied into where exactly, please? This file is going to be copying into this location, at this location. That's it. Let us use this command. I'll explain each and everything in the next class, but this is not a right place. No. So out of this image, out of this Docker file, where exactly Docker file, where exactly my var file. Let us execute this command. Docker build -t my Java app image. Column at the present one. That's it. Yeah, we successfully images. So what are the image name? Please tell me. Is my own image or not, please? So by helping of this image, I'm going to be creating a Docker. Please Docker run -d -p 8081. Is there a Docker container right now, please? Docker ps. Yeah, but let me clear all those things. Let me clear my Docker rm $docker ps -a-q everything is clear. No? There is no Docker containers. There is no Docker container. But let me create a Docker container with my image, with my own image. How can I please? Docker run please -d -p 8081 and 8080 my Java app column. That's it. So my container, Docker container has been created or not? Successful. But let me try to access our internet. Yes, and / your application Java app login. That's it. Yes, guys, please. Got this? Any questions, please? It would exact. Please. Somebody is asking. No questions?
For create the container, we need to create the image first, right?
Definitely. As a DevOps engineer, our roles is we have to create an image by helping of Docker file. That is our roles. But as a developer, creating a containers. Everybody does know Docker. But as a DevOps engineer, we are more responsible in our project. That's what. But these containers will be managed by Kubernetes automatically. That's what. So therefore, so next level is in Kubernetes or Docker stuff. Clear, guys, please. Any questions, please? Any questions?
So do you mean as a developer no need to create the image? Means
As a
having a knowledge.
DevOps engineer, yes.
Yeah.
As a DevOps engineer, we are the responsible person to create images for each and every release, each and every production.
Hi, Lakshmi.
But these all things we are able to automate by helping of Kubernetes. For
Lakshmi,
learning,
can you tell me the
Asif, please let me answer the Asif. The prerequisition on Linux. If you don't have, I'll help you. Don't have. Asif. So if anybody don't
what
know
about
Linux, discuss. Please ask me. Somebody's asking.
one more question? How many projects we gonna cover during this DevOps journey?
Projects we not covering. So, but we can say tasks. So each model. So we can able to covering. So what exactly we have totally be segregating 4 models: the container and the CI/CD and Ansible and AWS. End of the model, we're going to be covering in a one task. So real-time task, how can able to implement? That is will cover. Clear. that will cover. That we can consider as a project, or else we can consider as a real-time task.
Lakshmi, timing will be same, or we can have some options of
5. The timing will be so we're gonna be let us discuss about we're gonna be discussing completely. So DevOps, which I discussed, DevOps we're gonna be cover, and AWS we cover, and Linux basics. Linux basics, and as well as plus shell script. Shell. But timings is 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Monday to Saturday. Let us fix it. Any questions, please?
1 hour or it's a 2 hours class?
1 hour only. 1 hour is more than enough, So in the this is in a workshop, and that's what we discuss, long session. But every day we are discussing like that, we maybe not remember. That's all. 1 hour is possible. But the same scenario. First we will be discussing, first 10 minutes what our agenda, but theoretical part, and next part, practical session only for every day. Duration is 3 months, 3 months, and 3 to 3.5 months. 3 months, but maybe 3 plus. We can say it will complete within 3.5 months. 3 months to 3.5 months. We can say 3 plus. 3.5 months. The fees you can able to talk to our administrator. Maleshwar. So please talk to our administrator. He will the right person to discuss. Fine. Any
Actually, sir, timing is basically everyone's office is already open, so it's gonna be really challenging for us to arrange a time in during office hours.
One thing, do this.
So
Because of
that's
my
okay.
tax is all fixed. So if you have any not officially, unofficially, I'm going to be discuss with you. I can able to one slot in the morning. I have 6 o'clock. If you're all are okay, then I can fix the timing.
Morning or evening?
Morning and morning 6.
Morning is okay with us, but for me, I
But
mean, I'm not sure about the others, but I
I'm not
mean,
promising you,
5
but let
is
me discuss with my administrator.
okay.
Clear or
Thanks,
not?
Lakshmi.
So planning for that. Not at even I didn't reveal these timings to my administrator also. But the 5 o'clock will be continue. If anybody facing timing problem, please inform to my administrator. He will note down your number. Then we will schedule according to that morning also.
Yeah, check with other students also. I mean, if they are comfortable with 5 p.m., so definitely you guys are not
And
going to
that's what.
change for me. Yeah.
Because of so many commitments, I have that.
Okay. Thanks.
Fine.
When
But
will we
5 is
start that 6 a.m.
regular.
batches?
No gap, and tomorrow will regular class. No repeated classes. The continuation fundamentals will go going on
No.
tomorrow,
No,
same
my
time.
question is when will we start the morning 6 a.m. batches?
Maybe we'll reveal. Maybe I'm not fixed. Personally, the first time I'm talking to you only. Clear or not? But so based on the number, 1 or 2 people we can't turn. Maybe if it is more than 5, 10 or people, we'll conduct a morning session also. Okay. That's what.
Okay.
Please, prior, what is your preferred timing? Evening, say 5 o'clock or morning 6 o'clock? So please inform the administrator. So based on that, consultation by end of morning or maybe end of afternoon, tomorrow afternoon. Please bear with me tomorrow evening. Please join all of them tomorrow evening 5 o'clock. Tomorrow, please join all of you 5 o'clock. Then we'll decide day after tomorrow. Maybe we'll schedule. Guys, understood?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fine. That's what. Please ask me. Please inform to all the please inform to our administrator. Based on the things, we'll decide on either 5 o'clock or morning 6 o'clock.
Okay, sir. Okay, no issue.
That's what. Based on the number, we can decide. Thank you. Thank you, nice guys. So have a nice day. So have a nice weekend also. So
Thank you, sir.
please,
Thanks for
sorry for
awesome
that because
session.
it's taken a long time, but it's necessary for us. Okay, we will be the same timing at 5 o'clock. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.